Welcome to the first edition of Watch More Sports. I just want to briefly let you know what this show is going to be about. This show is going to be about the upcoming sports games for the week. My name is Abdul Hakeem, and today is September the 6th, and tomorrow is opening day for the NFL, September 7th, and the first game will be played at 8:30 in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Obviously, that team that plays there is the defending champions, the New England Patriots, going up against the visiting Kansas City Chiefs, led by Coach Andy Reid. And I did not mention that the Patriots are coached by Bill Belichick, who has 5 championships, and also Tom Brady. The New England Patriots have a 75% chance to win this game. A 75% chance to win this game, which leaves Andy Reid and his starting quarterback out of the University of Utah a 25% chance to win this game on the road on opening day. Now, we know the strength of the Kansas City Chiefs, the visiting Kansas City Chiefs team, is their defense. And they have guys like Tamba Ali, Justin Houston. On offense, Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt. We haven't seen Kareem Hunt because he's a rookie. We may have seen a few plays of him in the preseason, those of us who watch. But for the most part, they have a new leading running back because Spencer Ware out of the University of LSU has been injured and is now on IR. Also, Travis Kelce is a big part of the Kansas City Chiefs offense. But those of us who watch sports and know Bill Belichick, he likes to take the best player away. The last time that a Bill Belichick defense faced a Kansas City team with Travis Kelce, he had 6 catches for 23 yards. That really doesn't have an impact because he's the type of guy who stretches your defense out, and Andy Reid does a really good job of getting mismatches and things of that nature. Having Travis Kelce, who's a big target guy, I believe he's about 6'5", 250 pounds, getting him matched up against linebackers who are a little slower than him and safeties who are smaller than him. So I think this game will be fun to watch and very difficult. The New England Patriots are favored by 9 points. I personally believe that the Patriots will win by more than 9 points. I'm not a gambling man, but I know this is a big part of the sports world. I think the Patriots will win by probably 2 touchdowns or more. Some key injuries for both teams, starting with the visitor team. As I said earlier, Spencer Ware out of the University of LSU, who was the starting running back last year and was responsible for over 60% of the running plays for Kansas City a year ago. He won't be there this year because he's on IR. He's injured. Also, the big cornerback Steven Nelson, who was traded to them from the Los Angeles Raiders a year ago. 2 key injuries. A big injury for the New England Patriots. Julian Edelman out of the University of Kent State. He's on IR. He injured his knee in the game against Detroit, I believe, in the preseason of this year. So he won't be there either. They will have to rely on the new acquired Brandon Cooks, who comes from the New Orleans Saints, from the University of Oregon State. He's a speedster. He can take the top off the defense. Those of you who do not know what that means, those receivers like Tyreek Hill, who are real fast, Deshaun Jackson, who's a little long in the tooth, which means a little older. He's been in the league 10 years out of the University of California. Through free agency, he's in Tampa Bay. I won't talk much about him because we'll talk more about him on Saturday. They have a bye because of the hurricane threat of Irma that's supposed to land in the Florida Keys this weekend. So we won't talk about that now, but I was just giving an example of taking the top off the defense and the fact that Brandon Cook has this ability to do that. Excuse me. Brandon Cooks is new. I don't know how much comfort Tom Brady has developed with him because I haven't seen very many preseason games, and also I'm obviously not there to witness their practicing and things of that nature. But Tom Brady is a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's 40 years old, and he's very, very good at getting the ball where it needs to go. We also know the two-time champion, Rob Gronkowski, is healthy after 3 back surgeries, I believe. He also had one at the University of Arizona. Yes, he is a Wildcat. And he's healthy. And he also is a mismatch for linebackers, cornerbacks, defensive ends, safeties, whoever you put out there. The guy is 6'7", 260 pounds, and fast. I believe he runs somewhere around 4.4, 4.5 in the 40. He is lightning fast. And when healthy, nobody can really check him. So I think the Kansas City Chiefs will have their hands full. And just a quick recap, I do believe that the New England Patriots will win by more than 9 points. I personally believe, as I said earlier, that they will win by 14. They will win by 2 touchdowns or more, which is 14 points. Excuse me. Also, a name that I haven't talked about, he comes out of the University of Monmouth, which is in New Jersey, and he was acquired last year through free agency from the Buffalo Bills, who is a team that's in their division, and we'll talk more about later on in the year. They have a new coach in Doug McDermott, who was the former defensive coordinator in Carolina Panthers. He comes under the tutelage of Jimmy Johnson, who was the very aggressive defensive coordinator with the Philadelphia Eagles years ago. The New England Patriots fantasy hopefuls is this guy who I did not finish telling you about, out of the University of Monmouth, acquired from the Buffalo Bills. His name is Chris Hogan. Chris Hogan. He was responsible for 85% of Tom Brady and the New England Patriots offensive possessions a year ago. Without Julian Edelman, production has to come from somewhere. And we mentioned Rob Gronkowski, we mentioned Brandon Cooks, and now we're going to talk about Chris Hogan briefly. Chris Hogan is another guy who can stretch the field. Now, he doesn't have the speed that Brandon Cooks have. But if you roll coverage to Brandon Cooks, Chris Hogan then showed you that he can beat man-to-man coverage. So I think that's something for us to look forward to seeing in tomorrow night's game, which is September 7th at 8:30 p.m. on NBC. Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth will be calling that game. And the fantasy hopefuls for that game, starting with your visiting Kansas City Chiefs, I would suggest that it would be Alex Smith. He pretty much take care of the ball. He doesn't throw too many turnovers. He doesn't throw the ball downfield often. But Andy Reid and Alex Smith suggested that they will try to throw the ball down the field this year. So I guess we'll get our first chance to see that. I believe Alex Smith is a good, safe fantasy choice for those of you who would like to use him because, like I said, he doesn't turn the ball over often. He's a 12-year veteran out of the University of Utah. Also, the rookie, I think we will watch him, and I think he's going to have a big impact. Out of the University of Toledo, his name is Kareem Hunt. He's going to be taking the bulk of the carries, but I think they will be a running back by committee with Charkendrick West out of the University of Abilene Christian. And so that's for the running backs. And for the receivers, Tyreek Hill, the speedster. They have Albert Wilson, Chris Conley. We'll see who will emerge. They let Jeremy Maclin go earlier this year. He's now in Baltimore. So we'll just see what receivers take over. Also, DeAnthony Thomas out of the University of Oregon. I believe he's known as the Black Mamba. So we'll see for Kansas City who takes over and be the league's fantasy hopeful. Now going back to the home team, New England Patriots. Obviously the fantasy hopeful and 40-year-old veteran and 5-time championship, who is known to most as the GOAT, the greatest of all time. And I would say Tom Brady. He takes care of the ball, can make all the throws downfield, still got zip on the ball. The reports coming out of Foxborough throughout the preseason and training camp and OTAs is that the zip on the ball is fine. It's hard to tell that he is 40 years old. He's taking care of his body. He has a chef. He eats well. He has a good wife. Got a good sleep regimen, etc. They have numerous running backs. They got Rob Gillespie, who was acquired from Buffalo. He's out of the University of Florida. He was LaShawn McCoy's backup. LeGarrette Blount is gone. He's now in Philadelphia. So we'll just see which running back emerges. You know how Bill Belichick is. He never lets you know. They also have a running back. I believe his name is Erickson. He comes out of Cincinnati. A year ago, he played with Cincinnati. Deion Lewis is still there. James White is still there. James White comes from the University of Michigan State. Deion Lewis, I believe, come out of the University of Wisconsin. No, I'm sorry. He comes out of the University of Pittsburgh. He came right after LaShawn McCoy. Correction. Malcolm Mitchell, as far as receiver production, could be a fantasy hopeful. He was a little nicked up in the preseason, so I believe they have him as questionable. But he's a big, tall, lean receiver, and Brady has had some comfort with him, so I believe he has an opportunity. Also, the newly acquired from the Indianapolis Colts, from the University of Miami, Philip Dorsett, who was recently traded. They gave up the quarterback from out of the University of North Carolina State. He broke his hand, and I can't think of his name right now. I apologize, but he's a real big, tall guy. He's going to be going down there to back up Scott Tolzien because Andrew Luck will be out for week 1. But Philip Dorsett, He's a speedster also, but I don't know how much of the system he has learned in just a short period of time. So I think we'll look forward to seeing him as the year goes on. So for now, that's the edition of Watch More Sports. Now tune in on Saturday evenings for the games on Sunday, and then tune in Sunday evening for the games on Monday. Once again, I'm Abdul Hakim, and enjoy the opening day, or night I should say, of the NFL.